Hi everyone. I think I was crying about something. Um, just thinking I'm, the last witch of the world, right? Because, you know, I think many times we're, in a fearful world with, cancel culture, like with, Kanye West and Whoopi Goldberg and people like that, where people are afraid of being seen as racist or as homophobic or ableist and xenophobic and a having ableism or being ageism or any kind of discrimination or about fat phobia or transphobia or fat phobia. you know these different types of discrimination are being talked about often, right, in this world. And I think it's not easy when you can be confident how you are, but your loved ones can bring up any fact of your past and can make you be on the spotlight, and you know and someone will pull the trigger, and already you can think it's gone in your life before it even started. Your life is over. And as young adults, the YA section of a library, we're in the young adults, we're that acronym. And it's not easy when we want to believe in the potential of our future, and we aren't just living a scandalous, promiscuous life that some people think that young adults do or other middle-aged people do. We're actually working the majority of our time, and we're not, we actually do believe in long-term, long-lasting love and marriage and a fairy tale ending that's not, somewhere in a hotel with secondhand smoke or being abducted and needing to watch the Vantage Point movie that we know is indicative of some assassination that happened in Japan, with an actor from the Lost series, right, show, with those characters like Kate and Juliet and Locke and John and who else? Saeed, Claire, and Desmond, right? These kind of characters in the Lost show. They've all done, interviews over the years, the Conan O'Brien show, the Seth Meyers show, and Jimmy Fallon, whatever show it was. These guys and girls, they've done all kinds of talk shows that it's good. It's part of YouTube. A big chunk of YouTube is interviews, and I've listened to a variety of interviews, and I'm keeping track of everything that I'm reading and watching on YouTube. That's just something no one really told me to do, but I have this innate intelligence to know to defend myself after I've been so many times rudely interrupted and rudely discriminated against in my life. So I know to always keep track of everything. Just like when I was in track and field and for 2 years with Coach Trammell, and those people were nothing, really anything, nothing strange ever happened. We just did what we're supposed to do in track and in Key Club, the community service club. You can see the heart of service on YouTube too, where a girl named Abigail is interviewed, and she describes just the kindness and generosity of people who volunteer, like with Key Club or any service organization that isn't going to be taught or isn't going to be handed to you on a silver platter or somewhere in Hollywood or in Bollywood. It's not going to be handed to you when you attend the Ivy League with your privilege, and that will continue with throughout your life with the kind of earnings that you can get from being an Ivy League graduate. My poetry is many times prophetic, and it's that way for a reason. If you're jealous of people's abilities to see the future, then you obviously have something issues in your life, right? I think many times we're just so naive to believe everyone is on our side or people aren't doing their best to protect us. And, I would say in one poem that I don't believe in a Prince Charming, but now I think differently. And I think I do want a Prince Charming too in my life. And I don't always think I need an agent, a literary agent, or a spokesperson, but those are valid jobs. And, anything is possible in the future. I could even have a record album deal with music or a, a publication deal for poetry or some other genre of literature. And, I can think many times we have to put projects on hold and try to work on other things. And, we've all been through this crazy last year was, with the Iran situation, right? With the hijab, where women didn't want to wear the scarf. I joke that I can wear my scarf if I have to marry an Arabic or Muslim man. That I like all, races. I'm not that way, to hate any race. I can wear my scarf, right? But of course, And my piano cover is like this black cover, so it looks like an actual legitimate hijab when I put it around my head, which I did in one photo on my Instagram, as a joke or something. But French women have on the news, cut their hair as a sign of solidarity. And in Germany, they protested. Huge crowds of people protested for the Iran situation, even they have perhaps no intrinsic historical connection to Iran in some ways. But I guess it's random, like that random word someone said to me in my direct messages, some physical therapist person. Many times I've had rude interactions and correspondence with people in life, and it's not easy to deal with negative correspondence when people see your level of maturity or your level of acuity or veracity and tenacity or temerity as good as others, and it's not easy to prove your worth. And I think in oral traditions is part of Native American traditions of thinking your brother, your sister is in the otter or in the rain, in the river, and things like that, right? It's really important to respect traditions, but we learned formally through education to know the different types of injustices, and there's sometimes lack of resources or programs and that kind of distributive injustices. And I listened to many different categorical ways of thinking these past few weeks, and listening to trying to be more relatable by listening to music from popular singers like Lady Gaga and Beyonce and Ellie Goulding and Sia and One Republic and One Direction and all these different singers, and you know uh you know the Miley Cyrus, Selena Gomez, and who else? There's like people like, and then all these Disney Channel shows and Nickelodeon shows and Cartoon Network, the introduction openings, and trying to think categorically. And it's really important, I think, and to try to see the bigger perspective, see everyone's hard work, it pays off, right? And noticing also the singers like uh who else, like, yeah, and Ella Henderson, and then there's who else, like Camila Cabello, and like Maroon 5 and Carrie Underwood, these different people, right? I could hear, and there's more too, but it's good to believe that we know these cultural references just like anyone else. I think it's not easy to prove that since I only had a smartphone since 2019. It's not really, it's unheard of, right? I think in our generation, but that's just what was my reality, and there's no denying that fiction, or that, I mean, nonfiction, right? I grew up in this area, and it wasn't easy to feel accepted, I think, and honored and valued, I think, in this world. And sometimes we wonder, I'm can be grateful to go further than the high school level, and just many times I think there's misunderstandings and miscommunication, and logistics are important, but logistics, of course, aren't everything. If you just talk about the gas prices and the prices of your groceries and the gas prices and the mortgage with your loved one, that's not going to sustain a marriage, I think, or a family, just talking about those things. But it's still necessary. But I think moving beyond that, a lot of people are noticing you can't always separate your identity with your profession, and you kind of have to step up for yourself and step up to the plate to prove that even if you're from a marginalized identity, you can beat the odds, and you can change the trajectory of your demographics and try to do justice for who you are and the people that raised you and nurtured you throughout the years, right? And right, this is my public service announcement, I think. And yeah, just I would think, yeah, noticing these things to prove that I understand cultural ideas and movie clips and things like romantic comedies, and even I can see scary movies. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna do something bad, right, to my husband in the future. I'm just seeing scary movies sometimes, and romantic comedies, and like the animation things like the Soul movie and the Up movie and A Bug's Life and Toy Story, and Encanto and Frozen, and the ones there. And I'm not, judgmental, but a lot of these celebrities are in the news, like Jennifer Lopez. She like she stole Ben Affleck from Jennifer Garner, and that's what Jennifer Garner felt like, right? That her husband was stolen from her, right? And Kelly Clarkson felt like her husband, Brandon, you know, like was gone from her life, and she was kind of blindsided by that, and she thought it would last longer, right? I think they both did, and it just ended like that, unceremoniously. And for my life, programs sometimes ended before the time that was going to end, before getting any certificate. Even if we have a lot of certificates, we always wanted just one more certificate, to prove our perfectionist, Asian model minority myth, to think Asians are always smart. And yeah, of course, we know Asian Americans have been targeted by hate crimes in these recent years because people would think it's our fault for the virus. But I think now people are more going back to increase their level of social capital and cultural capital and financial capital. So it's sad, right, that that was happening here and there. And but it's good to keep up though with the journalism and the celebrity Hollywood culture. I think it's good to keep up with both. We don't always think our opinion matters, or they already have enough followers or subscribers and fans, so we think just one more fan or subscriber isn't going to make a difference. I think it's good everyone has feelings of loneliness and isolation, and quarantining is something people have done. I think it's good to promote equity and inclusion, right, and diversity. Not every country in the world allows gay marriage. I think we know that, and there's the chance that things could change, and our involvement and our participation in civil society can change things, right? I think I listened to also all the governors of our country, just one after the other, using Wikipedia to see their names. They all talked about different issues about like climate change or abortion or healthcare, education, taxes, and gun reform. And these ideas, I listened to them. In a way they appeared sort of brainwashed, but that's how I think a lot of people are. It's just I could listen to them all, try to have a holistic, balanced perspective. And I think every day, the price of my litigation is increasing every day, but it's just good to pay attention to everyone in the world. you know Also, of course, we don't still I don't drive. I can notice the world and it moves by quickly. People's attitudes change over time. I can still have friends I can reach out to, right? And I still have some groups that I'm participating in. You know, um, it's good, and we hope people, if they're in a drought, that they don't use all the water. I hardly don't take long showers. I just, it's there, and you don't need to use the whole, you know, Rio Grande or Ariana Grande River, right? So I think that's important, right? So, and there's feuds even within celebrities like Katy Perry versus, Taylor Swift, and Taylor Swift against Olivia Rodrigo. She's a newer singer who was, seen as her number one fan was of Taylor Swift, but then it kind of became this kind of psychological warfare between each other, who is more popular, and Selena Gomez versus Demi Lovato, and and Selena Gomez versus the person who got her kidney, right? Who gave Selena Gomez the kidney. That was really another topic mentioned, right, in life. Yeah, and I think it's not easy to keep up with everything. But it's good to know a few things here and there, right? Okay, so that's good. And I think also just yeah, that's good. I think. Okay, let's get how long has it been? Okay, let's get started with the poems. Okay. So here's the first one. When stars and stripes decay. The bald eagle gets ungraciously hunted down. Our small children can only frown. Where is our Western civilization heading? We were happy during our whimsical white wedding. Um, okay, so I'm trying to do this. Okay. there. Okay. The unrivaled 50 stars of the United States are quickly falling to suffer chaotic fates. We are sinking into the oceanic depths like Atlantis, as sea urchins prick us and as water snakes hiss. We are being covered by volcanic ash like Pompeii, as none of our words are effectual, no matter what we say. The 13 stripes of the United States. The 13 stripes expanded with westward movements, but we forgot how to savor the magical and patriotic moments, like when Pocahontas and John Rolfe met. It should actually be, yeah. Is it? I think, let me check something. Something messaged me. Is it? Yeah. Okay. Something okay. Like when Pocahontas and John Rolfe met, or the Boston Tea Party's theme of disregarding British etiquette, or like when Robert Fulton made the steamboat, or when factory working children made each shirt, pant, and coat. They wiped their brows with the sweat of their labors, never forgetting to love their neighbors. That was my poem. This is one, June 15th, 2022, in the fold. You need to rest to pass the test. No one will know how far you'll go. No one will see what you can be. When hope is gone, no joy is won. When people cry, when people die, we must look up and raise our cup. Fold the corners and the tortures. We need new faces and new races. We will all join hands as we enter new lands. This is one, October 7th, 2022. Even when I was busy that time, this is a poem. A farewell to modernity. People will only show you what they want you to see. They will never show you any vulnerability. People will surround themselves with mountains of artificiality. We will never see their true reality or identity. Halloween is all year round, with everyone wearing masks and disguises. We will never perceive beyond their gregarious guises. Life makes sense to those who control it, while death keeps weaving the threads of fate to stitch and knit. Love's requiem is unrequited and unrequired. Introversion is the adaptation to get hired. Joy's dance is not awesome, but awkward. All we hear are the screeches and caws of each busy, bumptious bird. Productivity necessitates silence, while bliss requires energetic moments. We are measured by how interesting we can be. Sometimes we give up this game for eternity. Okay, what an adult is to me. This was October 11, 2022. Being an adult is about more than having a car and house. It is about more than having a loving, intimate spouse. Being an adult is about forming your own beliefs. It is not about surpassing all leaders and chiefs. An adult is about giving children a gentle reminder. It is about being fair, wiser, and kinder. Soon we'll be mature, responsible adults, and I will never point out your mistakes or faults. Your humble heart will serve the family and community. Soon, citizens will look up to you as the cornerstone of society. Okay, this is October 27th. Compliments are like candy. Compliments are like baked desserts and pieces of candy. Children and adults alike eat them and will feel full and dandy. A wonderful performance will be equivalent to a caramel souffle. An excellent story will be tantamount to a lemon sorbet. A cute outfit will be the same as a strawberry gâteau, and a handsome smile will be the same as a plump marshmallow. An interesting idea will be the replica of a croquembouche. A marvelous interpretation will be the same as a raspberry mousse. A fine comparison will be like a berry parfait. An impressive talent will be like a creme anglaise. A nice house will be reminiscent of a Swiss roll. A cool car will be similar to a sweet potato casserole. Compliments are like tasty, delectable treats. Let us try to say more and give the whole world sweets. Okay, and then this is November 1st. This one is called Momentous, Musicality, and Superb Spirituality. This poem is more like a prayer kind of poem with what was going on last year. Right, we hope parents can supervise their children, right? And friends can, hold people accountable to their friends, right? Okay, so, my scarf. Right, I'll wear my hijab anyway. Okay, let's sing this one. So, okay, music heals the heart and mends the mind with new secrets that we shall find. Melodies light the way on our path to go beyond the devil's wrath. God's love for you and me shines brightly, and our worst fears shall evaporate nightly. God's grace drops like rain with purification, and angelic hymns burst with a rainbow incantation. The fields of tender tulips and radiant roses remind me of God's promise to Noah and Moses to forge a new way and cultivate our calm communities and happy homes. May our ancestors form a protective barrier for each of us, silver domes. No child or adult will be left behind. Goodness and empathy forever we seal and bind. This is one more recently, January 9th of this year, the 7 sacrilegious sins. Envy is when you want your neighbor's possessions, abilities, or friendships. Lust is when you want to kiss every pleasant person with your lips. Gluttony is when you eat a lot of carrot cakes and blueberry pies. Pride is when you believe that only you're right and others tell lies. Wrath is when you pursue revenge and fulfill a grudge's cause and desire. Greed is when you value currencies and are the most prolific buyer. Sloth is resting on a billowy bed as though you're out of breath, like a flat tire. Sins are manageable and preventable. Try your best to stay clear and stable. Okay, this is one. The stars and I. Here is this lonely life that I live with no one to love and nothing to give. The stars grow obscured by the endless clouds. I too am indistinguishable from the constant crowds. My heart grows weak and weary from tasks and chores that are boring and dreary. My eyes cannot stay open for long when lullabies find me with every accessed song. I was cast out of the palace gates, palace halls, and garden gates, never to be smitten by lovers or mates. I was sent to work in the factories and trenches, where none smile with only screwdrivers and wrenches. The deep sadness I have is deeper than the ocean, for life's lessons keep going in a never-ending motion. No one stays around for a long time, for people like to be with experiences sublime. The goals and objectives of productive citizens are foolish and selfish, according to my 2020 lens. In hindsight, we can notice the truths of our past. With foresight, we hope to make sure each opportunity lasts. I walked through the snowy woods and the heat-stricken deserts, and I ambled through the loudest parties and thickest concerts. I wondered where I belonged in this world of popularity, as the young and the old grow restless from expected amity. This is a royal cook. The Duke of York told me to leave his presence, so I exited toward the hydrangea's essence. In the back gate, I walked out unceremoniously, feeling saddened at my departure ignominiously. The Duke of York was a man with a bowler hat, who carried a cane and walked with a hunch. He loved his pedigree pets, a beagle and a tabby cat. Adoringly, he ate Greek olives and mozzarella cheese at every lunch. I remembered the drama of the royal court, where jesters and eunuchs acted out their roles, were their actions for fun or just in good sport, and yet my heart continued to feel wide gaping holes. As for me, I was just a humble cook, who was just a peasant pawn and not a royal rook. I wondered why I suffered in such a way that made me feel as though I had gone astray. The feelings of forlorn and forgetfulness made me question my identity and usefulness. I wandered towards the monuments and structures of royalty and regality that gave the poor lectures of what to do and what to think, to never let go of morals nor sink into the depths of hell or the devil's desires, to only appease our lords and sires. The draconian dragon's breaths gave me renewed energy to find a new guild and gain new synergy. I donated my royal garb and attire, forgetting my anguish and ire. That's one. And then this is another one. I think there was a few more I made, but it's okay. This is one we can say for this year. So this one is kind of reading the first two lines and then for every stanza. Okay. People want to take the perfect photograph, to capture each moment of when they smile and laugh, as she attends the pomp and patriotic graduation, or as she has her wished-for wedding celebration with Halloween, to capture each moment of when they smile and laugh with Halloween costumes, pumpkin flavors, and autumn leaves. Down the road you travel, like a river as it meanders and weaves. People want to take the perfect photograph to capture each moment of when they smile and laugh as they are going to eat tasty tarts or drink luscious lattes in metropolitan maps, suburban spaces, and crowded cafes. Near King Louis VII's grave, the Louvre, and the Eiffel Tower. surrounded by their favorite pink or purple flower. People want to take the perfect photograph of when they smile and laugh, as they patiently save for a used Hyundai Sonata, or as they make a yellow, cheesy omelet and potato frittata. Take the perfect photograph of when they smile and laugh as he has an anniversary with a lovely lady, or as the midwives deliver a boisterous baby. If you want to take the perfect photograph of when they smile and laugh, as they're wearing new semi-formal business casual outfits, or with the seeds of a watermelon and cherry pits, as your pretty pet does terrific tricks, and as the dog or cat plays, spins, and licks. As you publish the final edition of your new nifty novel, or as you witness the skills of your child being a prodigy and marvel, your loved ones care about you even when you are depressed, for God is gentle and grants safe passage so you may be blessed. Yay, okay. I hope that's something. I'm not trying to be, arrogant. I like, English. Just I always wanted to. I didn't, change my gender. I could maybe any time, but I haven't changed my gender, and I didn't change, my major yet. So I like English, and it wasn't, English is not easy to. I think if you do any other major, you still will be good at English too. But it's good to know the theoretical, rhetorical ideas too, and social movements have really been happening a lot, and that's foundational what we learned the first semester when I was at George Mason and Fairfax. Fairfax was where we all know Johnny Depp and Amber Heard situation and Helena Bonham Carter, but we hope everyone can, be nice and respectful, and hope everyone can respect people's privacy and can live a long life and try to be 96 years old too, like Queen Elizabeth, is what I say. And, even Japanese people, they live a long time, I guess, some kind of way of thinking. And yeah, that social movements ideas, the Me Too movement with some people like Constance Wu and Ashley Wagner and Jeanette McCurdy and others have stepped forward, and in gymnastics, U.S. gymnastics and in the media industry, different people have done things that maybe didn't take into account, consent and informed consent and agency and volition ideas. I think it's difficult in this world with everyone is working so hard and everyone's creating really such innocent ideas that can be very attractive to people when you have such innocence and creativity and such passion for life. But you have to know, your worth, and know that even if something happens, it can lead even people do suicide and things like that. But you have to try to believe in your potential for success. And if you want to have a long-lasting marriage, a long-lasting career, you have to try to be optimistic and, try to prepare and plan. We try to have prevention for things, but sometimes there needs to be some intervention that happens over time, and, reassess your progress, reassess your goals over time. And, with the movement of the Great Resignation, I think we can empathize with the workers because they're the proletariat and they perhaps weren't being paid fairly, or maybe had some microaggressions happening in the workplace. Workplace politics happens. There's hierarchies that are there in the workplace. It's not easy to know, right, why people are quitting. And I saw a really comprehensive article that said all these kind of demographics represented and survey questions of why people are quitting in the world or in America. And, I think there's that. But, we think of from the employer's perspective too, human resources, they have to, train a new batch of employees, and it's not easy to do that again. And there are, certain jobs they need more than others, like tech jobs, I think, but even those have laid off people at times. And they said even Disney Plus, like a bunch of people unsubscribe. So there's things like that, but I think it's not easy to, there's the one TikTok YouTuber, because she didn't want to eat this escargot or something, right? So she was rude to French people, I think, something like that. And I did see like different Russian generals that have died. It made me a little bit chuckle, but it's of course sad. And when Russian generals die, or when black rappers have died, and there's a list of them who died of colon cancer, and they have a YouTube list of all the celebrities that died in 1 year, even TikTok stars that died sometimes under suspicious circumstances or just health reasons and things like that. And so it's not easy to live in this kind of dramatic world where we think tragedy is comedy sometimes, right? For any of us, I think it's normal to think that way, right? But I think we can, lower the prevalence and the predominance in the statistics that are, we know are negative statistics, and try to increase more positive statistics that can be for everyone's benefit, right? That's what I like to say sometimes, and here and there we buy food and clothes and office supplies. I think we all need those things regardless of whatever your job is. But I don't think it means you have to swear your allegiance or your loyalty to any company, even if you have to advertise for that place. It's just, good to prove to people that we're trying to increase our maturity, our relatability, and our literacy, our creativity, and trying to put stuff out there that is beneficial for others, and trying to see from other people's perspectives and different people's positionality with, all the ideas of multiculturalism and intersectionality, right, that we have to understand more. But I am glad I did even read books that are being mentioned that they don't allow, Ron DeSantis. It was really dramatic music, but I heard his biography too on YouTube, and Governor Stacey Abrams is some politician too in Georgia. So they're both, different bipolar or different sides of the political spectrum that I heard, just YouTube about their lives. And, they both were successful, but they sometimes do make policies that are hurtful. And Stacey Abrams is an author of different books, and Ron DeSantis, I think, attended an Ivy League at some point. He's like this kind of person, and I think it's good to see people's qualifications and not just judge them for their beliefs or their policies, right? And I did listen to Disney music. I play sometimes Disney music too, and I have a job now where I can sometimes play for people's events in our DMV or DMZ, North South Korea area. But our DMV area, I can play for people's events that I'm trying to do. My friend Irian Hoffman, or Irian Jenkins, she told me about that, and I can try to do that as another kind of side hustle people say to do. I hope. It's sad when we know there are people that sometimes are sent away and can't always interact with people in the normal society, right? With people like Elizabeth Holmes, with Theranos, and Julian Assange, and people like Ghislaine Maxwell. These people we've heard of, and it's not easy if you have a similar name as them to feel safe either, because people will always bring up these references, and in everyday life we always hear references to something, some adjectives. People like to say the same adjectives, right? Things like that don't always hurt our feelings, just make us sad that they're still stuck in the past, right? So okay, thanks you guys. I brought up some information for your abortion prevention and things like that. Okay, thanks you guys. I hope you understand what I'm saying, and my poetry is there.